I know. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Research Matters. Most, or about half of the HRPP office right now is in Boston at the Primer Conference, so it's going to be a little bit different today. There won't be HRPP updates. The two presentations today are conflict of interest, outside activities and employment, and then we will have a presentation on opt-out. You may have some questions about the new opt-out program. So without further ado, we'll let them get started. Thanks.
All right. Good afternoon, folks. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. My name is Nick Creeder, and I'm with the Conflict of Interest Office. I am stepping in for Meredith Noto today. She had to be out unexpectedly, so go easy on me with the questions at the end, if that's all right. So today I'm going to talk about the new system that we will be implementing with a go-live in early January. So, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and get these all on. All right. So we have a new system that's going to be replacing the eCOI, eOAE platforms in the e-research module. It's called COI Smart, and we plan to go live with that January 6th. That's 1st of January is customary for our reporting period to open, so we chose the Monday after the holiday to do that. Well, no longer will you be disclosing your conflict of interest or outside activity employments in the e-research platform. And with that, we're going to be merging the OAE questionnaire into the COI statement of financial interest. So that will help to kind of streamline the amount of disclosures that you're all reporting. With the new system, we'll have some revised email notifications that will be a little more intuitive and informational for users. We'll have more automated reports for the administrators, and with that, we'll be able to report out late statement submissions, so basically individuals who have failed to complete their statements within the disclosure period. The training module that we're developing will also be in tandem with the statement, so they'll live in the same place. And then we're also going to have improved off-site access. So it's a cloud-based platform. You'll be able to access it from home, your laptop, your mobile device, what have you. And then with all of these changes will be some revisions to the policies. ETH 104 and EMP 1058 are the main policies that cover these activities. So I'll talk a little bit about the OAE process. Oops, sorry, folks. All right. So the OAE system, outside activity employment, which is where you're reporting the activities that you're doing outside of your financial interest. We're discontinuing that system, like I mentioned. We'll be folding a lot of those questions into the COI statement of financial interest. We will still be reviewing for permissibility within that, and we'll still be sending out notifications for supervisors for approval of those activities, but we will be changing that a little bit. We will not be seeking an act of approval from the supervisors, but rather a notification with an option to. Okay, I'll stop there. And then improved information for the department chairs and center directors with reporting. As we know the OAE system right now, we are discontinuing it. Outside activity employment requests that are outstanding, those that individuals haven't replied to us or have not continued to give complete information, those will be auto-declined and discontinued. All the other ones that are in the system have everything we need. We'll continue to review those for permissibility and take appropriate action where necessary. With the end of this eOAE, there will be no changes to eIRB, e-grants, or e-agreements. One other change with this, the public disclosure page on the UT Southwestern site, we'll have some changes to that. It won't be, there'll be some behind office changes, but what's presented will be a little bit more thorough and complete. Existing management plans for folks that are under those will remain unaffected. They're still in effect, and the process for that will remain largely the same going into the new system. Campus-wide communications are going out about that now. We've posted some information on the OAE website telling you when it discontinues, when we're no longer accepting OAEs, which is basically after December 1st. And with the closure of these, with moving out of e-research for the eCOI and eOAE, we will be providing 2019 information to individuals for disclosure in the upcoming 2020 year. We will not be migrating data from e-research into the COI Smart module, but we will be providing individuals with the financial information relevant to the entities that they had disclosed for. Some benefits that we have to faculty on campus. A lot of enhancements, and I'll go into some of these in a little more greater detail. Financial interests will be disclosed by entity and not activity. So right now in the statement, you're disclosing that you are performing consulting activities, and then you're listing the entities that you do that with. You're disclosing your investment holdings and then the entities that you do that with. We're going to change it up, and you're going to disclose for one entity all of the things that you have, all of your interests within that entity. So with that, you will be providing your compensation or values and ranges. We're no longer going to be seeking accurate values, so no more scrambling, specific values, so no more scrambling to try to provide to us what you've made in 2019 or 2020, so that should be a bit of sigh of relief for folks. Improved access for the VA and other paid direct folks, those folks off-site. As I mentioned earlier, we'll have a cloud-based web link for folks to be able to access the system remotely. If you're an individual with no interest to report, which is, I think, most individuals on campus, that will have fewer clicks to get through to let us know that you don't have anything to report, you've met your obligation to the institution, and you are done. The statement functionality will have some improvements. When you receive your statement confirmation that you've completed, we'll be able to provide a PDF with a summary of what you disclosed to us, and we'll have some improved reporting capabilities along with all of that. And the system is much more intuitive. So as you move through the system, you have a pretty good understanding of what it's asking for. It's not asking for more information than is relevant to that specific question or category. And there's logic built in so that you answer one way and you're going to be provided with follow-up questions. If you don't answer affirmative to some questions, you're not going to be provided the follow-ups. So this is just a little diagram of how the system used to work. In 2018, you would complete your COI training in the city platform, and then you would go to eResearch, complete an ECOI statement of financial interest, then go to your EOAE and complete an outside activity employment reform. We would review those, assess, and for permissibility, and then seek approval from your supervisors. Last year, we did away with the city training and incorporated the training into the ECOI and OAE platform. We still, back office, reviewed for permissibility and sought approval. In 2020, we're going to change all of that. All of the training will live in COI Smart. Your OAE and COI will be merged into one questionnaire, and then we'll still review and issue management plans where necessary or where appropriate. This is just a continuation of that last bit. Your COI training and your statement of financial interest will be all you'll be responsible for, and they're all going to live in one place. This is just an example of the current ECOI statement of financial disclosure where we ask persons to disclose compensation. And if you're familiar with the form, you will disclose this compensation question for every type of interest or activity that you're reporting. If you recall, there's a pop-up window that comes up. You have to kind of scroll out over here to display that. No longer will we have to deal with that in the new system. In the new system, you'll have a drop-down letting you give us an aggregate of the compensation for all of your interest within one entity. And again, we're going to be doing that by ranges. And that is really all I have for today. So with that, we can open it up for questions. Yes, ma'am.
When will the training become available, January the 6th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how long will we have to complete it?
The disclosure period is going to be between January 6th and the end of March. March 1st, end of February. So the same 2-month window to complete all of that. Any others? Okay. Well, thank you all for your time. All right. Oops, okay, there you go.
You're fine, yeah. Oh.
I have to X out and do that, sorry.
Okay. All right, so I feel like I'm on the opt-out roadshow. I'm Kate Wilkinson. I think a lot of you maybe attended my previous session, so if you did attend a previous opt-out session, can you raise your hand so I know how many people are new to this? Okay, so a lot of you, this is exactly the same, I'm sorry. Maybe with a few more details thrown in since it actually went live yesterday, but we'll get started. And I will mention that this is a project of the Office of Clinical Research and Dr. Rollins. And I am a little under the weather, so you're going to have to bear with me. You can ask me hard questions, but I can't promise that I can answer them today. Josh made me come, so anyway, go easy on me. So we decided, the leadership, including Dr. Podolsky, decided that they wanted to change the default status for research recruitment. So it used to be that we didn't approach people unless we went through their treating physician, and we basically assumed that everyone could not be contacted about research unless they opted in. We had a whole opt-in volunteer research participant registry, and we really went full force that way. And then, maybe 6 months ago, they decided that that wasn't necessary anymore, and we could really contact anyone unless they expressly said they didn't want to be contacted. So we're moving in that direction, and the upside is that it'll really expand the pool of potential research participants. So the notice of privacy practice has changed. This highlighted yellow sentence has been added to it, and those NPPs have been distributed to all the clinics. As far as I know, that was compliance's task. There's 2 documents in addition to the NPP, which we understand that some people may not notice a change in the NPP, but there's 2 documents, and this is not the final version, this is the text. They were reformatted by marketing to be more patient-friendly. There are 2 documents that are given to patients at point of care if they have questions about being contacted for research. I think in some previous sessions we said that everyone was getting these regardless of, they came in, they got these. Ambulatory made the decision that these are only being given out if people have questions about research. And that was a decision by ambulatory. The 2 documents, one specifically talks about opt-out and how they can opt out, which we'll go over in a minute. And the other document goes over some questions about clinical research. I think, the take-home for clinical research professionals here is that at least ambulatory staff does have some access to information about research, which I think wasn't always the case before. So that's kind of exciting. And future plans are to really market this towards the patients so that they know that UT Southwestern does research, and they know that they can opt out if they choose to. So we do have a good pool of potentially interested volunteers. So we're working on that with this new tagline, advancing the future of medicine together, UT Southwestern and you. I think Josh talked about this last month. I don't remember if it was last month. The HRPP policy 4.1 has been updated. If you have any questions about that, you can contact me or you can contact Josh. It really goes into opt-out and who you can contact and who you cannot contact. So let me show you how opt-out works. So the first thing to know is that we turned this on yesterday at 4 a.m. That doesn't mean that every single person who is ever being seen at this health system is now considered fair game for recruitment. We tied this to the new NPP and a consent to treat. The consent to treat has not changed, or consent to admit, or consent to whatever. It's not changed, but we did expire all of the consent to treats yesterday. So when they come in, they need to sign a new one acknowledging that they have seen a copy of the NPP. So only once you come back for a clinic visit or a hospital visit or any kind of visit will you be considered in this research database, and you don't opt out. So it'll be it should populate pretty quickly, but it will take some time to get responses into this database. So once you sign a new consent to treat, as I said, you're provided with that copy of the NPP, and you're considered okay to contact in our research database. If you haven't signed a new consent to treat, you're not available for general recruitment. You can still be contacted by your people on your care team, or you can still do traditional recruitment methods. You can still advertise generally, social media, all of the recruitment plans that you normally would do. Nothing's changing on that side. If a patient opts out, again, they can still be contacted by a member of their care team directly, but they can't be cold called by another research team. And you can still, of course, recruit via traditional recruitment methods. So if they are in an okay to contact status, they will go into our recruitment registry, which currently exists as an opt-in registry with about 17,000 people. So those people will be added in. And we do have a way to distinguish between whether they opted in or they just didn't opt out. So we will, when we release participant sets to you, be able to say like, oh, this person affirmatively said, yes, they'd like to be contacted, versus they just didn't opt out. All right. So this actually went live yesterday, and I checked today. So now in my chart, there is a research, I think it's under my medical record or health, don't quote me on that, but you'll find it. It says research studies, and they can say whether they're okay to contact, do not contact, or undecided in my chart. If they say okay to contact, they get a little research profile that they can indicate which kind of studies they're interested in. There's some text on the right-hand side of this that says, you can still be contacted by a member of your care team. And I'm also going to try to add some text in that says, we may still contact you about studies in other groups. We don't want to be limited to what patients said they're interested in for a variety of reasons. We, of course, want to move that to the front of the, if we stratify who's available, we want to move those people who are interested in hypertension research to go to the top of the list that we release to coordinators, but we don't want to be limited to that. So we're adding some text to make it clear that they may still be contacted for other studies and by members of their care team, no matter what they respond in this profile section. Okay, so to summarize, what we're calling the recruitment registry or recruitment database is everyone who has not opted out, who signed a new consent to treat, or the people who are currently in the volunteer participant registry. And the opt-out pool is really only available for direct recruitment by physicians or people on their care team. And that's detailed in the HRPP policy on recruitment. So we are still working out some finer details of this, of how you will exactly see the recruitment status in Epic. But the idea is that if you are thinking of cold calling participants outside of your clinic, just like you do now through our opt-in registry, that you'll need to go through the Office of Clinical Research. We will help you with feasibility, we'll help you identify your cohort, and then we'll release a group of people to you that have not opted out. And we'll ask you to let us know if you were able to enroll those people, what happened to them, and this just helps us keep some detailed metrics. And the other thing that will change with this is if you are going to use the recruitment database, we will come and talk to you about communication methods and train you on that. Because essentially you're cold calling people who likely do not remember that they just didn't opt out. And we need to be sensitive to these people, and we need to make sure that they have a good impression of UT Southwestern. So we'll come with sample scripts, sample recruitment scripts, and just some training on how to effectively reach these people. The current opt-in registry, like I mentioned before, this is what it used to look like, and it's gone now. It was removed from my chart yesterday. So I'm hoping to get an icon back in my chart that talks about research, that's not just buried in a menu. But we did have to remove this opt-in to not cause a lot of confusion for patients. And the questionnaire, the optional questionnaire, is gone as of yesterday. So I put this in. If you are interested in recruiting from this database for now, it'll go up quickly, but right now we have about 17,000 people in our registry, and we'd be happy to share those participants with you with an IRB-approved protocol. Just call me and we'll get you started. And then I always like to quickly throw in these 3 tools, which people are probably tired of hearing me talk about. But there are 3 tools that we use to identify cohorts, I2B2, Slicer Dicer, which is in Epic, and Trinetics, which is similar to I2B2. We can come out and train you on how to use these tools for recruitment. I'll just give you a quick screenshots of them. I2B2 looks like this. It is based on the Clinical Research Data Warehouse, and it's got a drag and drop interface. It's pretty easy to use. This field for I agree will be modified to reflect opt-out, and I don't have any details on exactly how that will look now. We had to focus on getting this started with ambulatory, and then we're moving to how this will look in the databases, but we'll let you know probably next month about how all of this looks. And we're gonna start training classes on how to identify cohorts for recruitment. We're also happy to come to your research team meetings or to you personally and teach you how to use these tools. They're super helpful. You can use them right now for feasibility analysis. If you have a study that comes across your desk, your PI is not sure if he wants to do it or not, you can use these to get some basic feasibility numbers. It'll also stratify your cohort by race, gender, age. They're really cool. And you can get counts from these without an IRB-approved protocol. If you want to get a patient list, you have to go through our office and academic information systems. None of these tools will give you a patient list without coming through us. So we have a lot of questions about why don't I see MRNs? Unfortunately, you have to have approval for that, and you have to go through our offices to get MRNs. This is what Slicer Dicer looks like. It's super easy to use. There's a little help menu up here that has tutorials, and it'll walk you through some common scenarios on how to use Slicer Dicer in about 5 minutes. It's really helpful. So if you're interested in using Slicer Dicer, you can find it in Epic under reporting, I believe, and you can take those tutorials. And then Trinetics is very similar to I2B2, but it's a third-party system. It sits on top of our clinical research data warehouse, and it just has some more user-friendly features. The one thing about Trinetics is we currently don't have a field for their status, their research registry status in Trinetics. So we'd have to pull that for you on the back end, but it's still a neat feasibility tool. And I think I kind of went over this. Almost nothing is changing except that you will have access to a larger recruitment pool. You can still recruit in the same methods that you did previously through your clinics, through ads. But we hope that this will really create a culture at UT Southwestern that clinical research is important, and especially with our marketing campaign that to patients, to really show patients that we do clinical research here. Okay, so questions. I'm sorry, I rushed through that. Teresa.
Just to clarify, you said when the patients come in and sign a new NPP, there were those other 2 documents that ambulatory has decided to only pass out if the patient specifically asks a question about it?
Correct.
So it's obviously on the patient to opt out, but are they being told they have the option to opt out, or they just have to figure that out themselves by reading the new NPP?
So my understanding was that these would be posted somewhere, like brochures in the clinic. They're like formatted cards that they would be placed in clinics, but that is on ambulatory.
Yeah, I understand. My worry is, nobody reads that.
Yeah, I know.
You're gonna wind up with a bunch of people who said, I didn't know I was signing that, and then you're gonna have this big group that's gonna exit.
I will check with ambulatory, but I've been told to stay in my lane, which is research. So, but I'll check with ambulatory. That's a good question. Any other questions? I think the goal is, other institutions have done this, and they really marketed this towards their patients and said, such and such is now an opt-out institution. And that is my hope, so that we do have people who opt out who really don't want to be contacted. Because none of us want to contact someone who doesn't want to be contacted. So,
After signing that new NPP, do they have 24, 48 hours to opt out before that switches?
no, so they're not signing the NPP. The NPP is available to them.
Okay.
That you used to sign an NPP, but now you sign the consent to treat, which acknowledges receipt of the NPP. No, there's no, but the likelihood of us releasing someone within 24 to 48 hours after they've said yes is pretty small. I'm sorry, you know what I mean. Of us releasing them before they've had the chance to say no is small.
Hey, Kate. Is this new version similar to the old version where today I can say yes, tomorrow I can say no?
Yes. Yes, a patient can change their mind at any time. Through my chart, that field is always available to them. And then, I guess if they opted out, it'd be unlikely for them to opt back in, I think, just to remember that they need to opt in. But yes, especially in my chart, they can change their answer at any time.
And this only applies to studies that are specifically taking place conducted by UT Southwestern.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I really am off my game. I said that about 5 times in the other presentations. This only applies to UT Southwestern patients and studies doing research at UT Southwestern.
So that's both, right? Both UT Southwestern patients and research conducted, not just one or the other.
Well, if you weren't doing, you have to have approval to recruit here. Right?
I'm thinking of if you wander over to Parkland or Children's or something like that, with approval, of course. But if you were to go to someplace else, it's UT Southwestern research not conducted. You know what I mean? You're going to their clinics or recruiting from them.
Yes, you'd have to have approval for recruiting UT Southwestern patients. I don't know. I think we have to think about the specifics. Are you saying if you had a study that was recruiting UT Southwestern patients, but UT Southwestern wasn't a performance site?
No, UT Southwestern is a performance site, and we recruit UT Southwestern patients, but we also recruit patients, say, at Parkland or Children's.
Yeah, so I think as long as UT Southwestern is a performance site, you can use this database. But Parkland patients, of course, and Children's patients won't be in the database. Am I answering your question? Anything else?
Not
Yep.
to confuse things, okay, so you said they will not be in the Parkland and Children's, will not be in the UT Southwestern database, right?
Correct. If they're seen multiple places, you mean like if a patient, so this is only in UT Southwestern's Epic, and UT Southwestern's my chart.
Right. Okay, maybe I'm going too far, because I'm thinking, when we register the patient starts off with a UT Southwestern number. If they have went into some UT Southwestern system and opted out, but now Children's is a performance site, and I registered in and consent them, and it, is it like crossing the line, or is there something we don't need to look at?
I think they would only be considered opted out for UT Southwestern research.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would I know that the patient opted in or out or signed a new consent or not yet?
So we're working on that. That is my next task. It is in registration, but that is, of course, not a super easy way for everyone to see it. So that's our next task, is to get an easy way for everyone to be able to see their status. But we do want requests to use this pool to come through us and not just, as of course, as for the compliance office. We don't want people just looking up random people in Epic and trying to find out their status and seeing if they can call us. Of course, you may choose that you don't even want to call people about your own studies if they've opted out. You can make that decision. So we want that field to be available to everyone. I just don't know exactly how it's going to be visible right now. We're still working out some kinks. But it's a standard Epic field, so it should be fairly easy for us to get that. And we'll send out an email blast to everyone. And hopefully come back. We'll be presenting this at the OCRP forums, and also we'll come back to Research Matters once we have a little more details about how this looks in Epic. That's a great question, though. Thank you. Anything else? Well, thank you, and feel free to call me anytime if you have specific questions. Some people have already emailed me about their specific studies. Happy to help. Thank you.